Welcome back. Flooding can happen anywhere, and with hurricane season underway, it's important to understand ways to stay safe and to protect yourself and your property. So I got some advice from a scientist and a representative from the Insurance Information Institute. Take a look.
Yeah, the current forecast is for a near average hurricane season. Now we're calling for 14 storms. One's already formed, Alberto, back in May, so 13 additional storms. Of those 13, 6 becoming hurricanes, and of those 6, 2 major Category 3 plus hurricanes. Those are hurricanes with winds of 111 miles per hour or greater. We've actually lowered the forecast a bit from what we forecasted in April, primarily due to the fact that right now the Atlantic is quite cold. Much colder than normal. And that typically, if you have a colder Atlantic, that means less fuel for storms, and also tends to be characterized by an atmosphere that is more stable, higher pressure, and that tends to suppress the deep thunderstorms that are the building blocks of the hurricanes.
Yeah, we've noticed that here, hoping that that water continues to stay cool through this the first part of the season. But we can't say it enough. We talk to our viewers all the time about hurricane preparedness, so let's go over some of those things for people to get prepared right now for the hurricane season.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, obviously Jacksonville's been impacted quite significantly the past couple of years between Hurricane Matthew in 2016 and obviously Hurricane Irma last year. And I think one of the points we saw with Hurricane Irma was Hurricane Irma made landfall in the southwest corner of the state, and yet you had huge amounts of flooding in Jacksonville last year from that particular storm. So it doesn't have to even make landfall right where you live to cause significant impacts. So now's the time to have a plan in place and know what you're going to do if a storm threatens, and to follow the advice of your local emergency managers if there is a storm, because they know best whether you should be evacuating or sheltering in place.
One of the things that's great each year is we learn more and more. I mean, the Hurricane Hunter planes get more advanced and more technology, but we also learn more from the cleanup and you know, getting over hurricanes. So what are the top lessons learned from that triple hurricane season 2017?
I tell you, one of the best things that was learned from that season was to make sure that you have proper insurance protection, and that includes having flood insurance. Many people don't get flood insurance because there's no requirement to get it, and that's a big mistake. If you don't have flood insurance, then you're only half protected. So now is the time to get it, because there's a 30-day waiting period before that policy takes place, and you can't wait.
Why? I guess, you know, the question is, obviously, having seen it here, I wonder if there's a spike in Jacksonville of flood insurance purchases, but why have you heard from people that they don't purchase flood insurance?
I think people don't understand the risks. They think that if it hasn't flooded where they live before, that it's not going to flood in the future. And again, it's that thinking that they're saving money because they don't have to purchase that coverage. That only works if it's not raining hard. So it's really important to look at getting full protection, and that's just protecting from wind and flood, because the hurricane isn't all about wind. It can have a system that stays over your area for a very long time, and you want to protect yourself from not only coastal flooding but the inland flooding. So flood insurance, important protection.
For sure. We had a lot of people in our area learn that they were in a flood zone after last year when they thought they weren't. But this is all great information, and again, our viewers are always looking for more on it. So where can they go to find this all in one place?
Great information at III.org. That's the Insurance Information Institute. It's information for homeowners and for businesses on how to protect themselves and their property.
And thanks to the Insurance Information Institute for bringing us that information.